The popularity of delivery services is not new. From 2015 to 2020, the United States couriers and local delivery services industry increased in market size by an average of 4.7% every year. As cities locked down to slow the spread of COVID-19, people turned to delivery services as more than just a convenience. It became a means of staying safe at home without being cut off from necessities like food. Joining us today, we have Ingo-Alexander Rahn, who's the CEO for Turkey and Levant for DHL Global Forwarding, here to elaborate on the unique position DHL employed during the pandemic. Mr. Rahn, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show. I'm really happy to be here.
We have experienced something that shook societal functioning to its core. What the pandemic also did was it gave certain organizations the chance to shape and transform what the new normal of human functioning would be. And DHL has acted as an essential aid for courier and delivery services in a time when human beings needed things delivered more than ever at a very rapid pace. So a lot of global air freight is normally transported in passenger planes, but fewer in the skies because of the pandemic. Logistic companies such as DHL were picking up the slack and actually profiting from the pandemic. That is why I'm really excited to talk to you and hear your insights into this unique time period. So can you first comment on the symbolic meaning DHL employed and its impact on people's lives, acting as such a key player during this pandemic?
Yeah, more than a business, we believe that our role as a global trade enabler goes beyond. It's about doing what we do best, and that is connect people and improve lives. This pandemic has given us unprecedented challenges. You talked about the capacity situation in the early days where, basically all the passenger flights were wiped out. But our commitment, to keep our promise to the customers and our partners, to continue global trade has not wavered. So we were really busy to come up with alternative and flexible solutions, working with what is there. By the way, it's not the first crisis. We have seen many crisis before. The last one that really comes to my mind is the volcano eruption that shook the trade as well. And here as well, we use flexibility and we use our partnership with suppliers, with airlines, with ocean lines to come up with solutions for our customers.
The pandemic has also been a challenging time for businesses, requiring them to find innovative ways to serve the public while keeping both their customers and employees safe. An excellent way to accomplish these goals is by using delivery services. So how would you comment on DHL coming to the rescue of businesses, individuals, and many other stakeholders during the pandemic? How did DHL come out the strongest among other delivery services?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would say we are coming to the rescue of other businesses. We try to do what we are here to do. One thing is for sure, the importance of our industry, the importance of logistics has been somehow highlighted by this pandemic. And it all starts, in my eyes, with a business continuity plan. We actually had a plan before anybody talked about this pandemic, and that plan kind of addresses crisis situations. In Turkey, we are on a ground that is prone to earthquakes, so you are better prepared in case something happens. And the first thing we try to achieve is to keep our people safe, because if our people are safe, then we actually can deliver the service. So a lot of our thinking was going around keep our people safe to be able to serve our customers. And throughout this pandemic, we have learned one thing, and that is very clear. Together we are much stronger. And with together, I mean not only DHL Global Forwarding as a network. I also mean close interaction with customers, understanding the prioritization of their goods, but also having good touch and good relationship with everybody else in the logistics chain. That goes from suppliers, airlines, trucking companies, ocean lines, up to the authorities, customs clearance, everything. So communication is key. And I think we have managed that quite well. And I can say that keeping our people safe is our first priority.
What kind of strategies did the company employ to convert these challenging times into an advantage? And how did you adapt?
I mean, I mentioned communication, kind of working from home overnight, basically all of a sudden really called for a lot of communication, not only with your staff, but also with all the customers. I mean, we have to rewind a little bit. Overnight, there were no face-to-face meetings anymore. You could not kind of walk into a customer's office and have a discussion about, their needs and the service requirements and everything. So it basically went all to, virtual meetings. And that means communication, information about what is going on in the market. I mean, we have launched more than 60 customer communications in the early days just to keep everybody up to date. Not only ourselves, but also the customers. Tell them what is going on with capacities. What is what works, what doesn't work. What are the alternatives. So that is one thing. The other big thing is digitalization. Digitalization is nothing new. But it really came to the proof now that it had to be achieved. Zoom meetings, face-to-face replacements, virtual conferences, and luckily, as DHL as a group, in 2019 we launched our new strategy, which we called Strategy 2025, and it's named Delivery Excellence in the Digital World. So we were not kind of caught by surprise by that, although working from home overnight was a challenge, and we had to organize everything and get everybody equipped, check the internet, are the connections good enough? All this detailed stuff that in the end make it work or not. On the other side, we also have invested a lot into a one-stop customer portal, digital customer portal, which we call My DHLi. And that enables customers to manage all their shipment flows, regardless of the transportation mode. They can manage the freight rates up to carbon emissions. They can get reporting, analytics, and everything around what they need to manage their shipment flows. Behind that curtain, is a lot about digital processes. Replace manual work with digital data feeds, and it's this digital platform again, My DHLi, does not only create 360 degrees visibility for ourselves, but it also laid the foundation for our customers to manage their logistics and to manage their shipments.
If you had to differentiate DHL before the pandemic and after the pandemic, how did the company and delivery norms change?
I mean, you were breaking up a little bit, but I guess I understood the question. I mean, in the end, every crisis holds opportunities, right? And during this pandemic, or the beginning, or in the beginning of the pandemic, we saw a huge impact on the world's economy, but it also has accelerated the transformation. We talked about the digitalization that made really good progress. And the other thing that really comes to my mind and basically makes me also a bit proud is it really demonstrated the importance of our industry, because nothing works without logistics, right? Beyond adopting more digital solutions, to our own work life, we also saw that we have closer digital interaction with customers. So we also see an accelerated data exchange with customers. That's not an extremely new trend that has been there for a while, but what I can say is more and more customers are picking up on that. So we are replacing more and more paperwork by EDI solutions, data feed, electronic data feed, which also helps to improve processes. and improving processes gives efficiency gains. And that's something that always is needed and welcome. And the other aspect that made an impact here is we have to flexibilize our work arrangements. Traditionally, we were kind of office bound. We were based in at the airport, ports, in our offices. And with the pandemic, we felt the urge that we have to let our people work from home to the maximum, and only the ones that really are needed to move cargo, which we call frontliners, had to be on site. So that also gave us the need to kind of balance the work requirements and the safety needs for our staff. So we have new working arrangements. I'm pretty sure when the pandemic finally is over, we will not go back to a similar pre-pandemic office life.
If you had to differentiate DHL before the pandemic and after the pandemic, how did the company and delivery norms change? Would you say the pandemic brought along surprising transformations in customer expectations that you had to respond to?
I mean, everything around digitalization, and you named it, right? Laptops, computers, tablets, stuff like that. But also, what we see is collaborative robotics, big data analytics, artificial intelligence, to support processes and to optimize processes. Especially in the warehouses, we also see that more and more technology is being used, not only to support the human being, but also, to ensure safety, kind of distancing and make sure that we keep people as safe as possible. What we see, especially in customer discussions, is the need for more optimization of processes, and that's not particularly the internal processes of each party. It's about the processes between the parties. Make it more efficient and make it more digital. Sorry for that. Another big thing, and that's again nothing new, but much accelerated, is the e-commerce. E-commerce is extremely popular, especially during the lockdowns. I mean, you mentioned it. You needed to order your essential supplies, like medication, stuff like that, all online. And as you know, Turkey is going into a next firm lockdown for 3 weeks. So e-commerce plays a big role and will continue to play a big role, and will continue to be one of the main business drivers, not only national, but also international.
Definitely.
And then maybe one thing that I also want to mention in this context, and that is customer centricity, right? I had the opportunity to meet 2 or 3 customers, face to face, with all the precautions and distance and testing and what have you. But to a very large extent, the customer interaction, more or less was wiped out face to face. So, and we have to replace that by an even more, heartfelt customer centricity, and that means, virtually engage, communicate, and also bring in a bit of a personal touch, because everybody is affected, right? I mean, when we have customer interaction in the virtual world, then it's also very much about how's your family doing? Are you affected? And so on. So that is something that is needed, but more on the business side. Customer centricity helps us to really understand the needs and to come up with the right solutions, because even now, with a bit more capacity coming to the market, the situation is still tight. So that helps us to really come up with the right solutions and the correct flexibility to meet customers' needs.
As a key player across industries throughout the pandemic, you're in a unique position that kind of oversees industry trends. And so we saw some goods such as diapers, board games, bakeware, fitness equipment, and laptops more in demand during this time. What were some other industry trends you can point out?
That's actually a good question. And I do hope that, by late Q3, early Q4, and I cannot make any predictions here, but that's my sheer hope that we will come back to our normal life. And we will carry over a few of the changes that we needed to make during the pandemic. I mean, one thing I already mentioned, we will not come back to the office to 100%. Right? We will work with more flexible arrangements. I think the digitalization and all the efforts, to use digital media to a larger extent will still be there, will prevail, and we will continue to to interact, maybe in a bit different way than before the pandemic, because I also believe that while the face-to-face will kick back into our life, but it might not be to the extent that we are used to, because we all have learned that you can do a lot in the virtual world. So I believe this will carry over, and I also feel that another aspect that I want to call as sustainability will also prevail, because let's not forget the pandemic is not the only challenge that we are looking at right now. I mean, it's obviously the most pressing one right now. But what we also see is, there is a lot of interest and there's a lot of requirements around sustainable solutions. That has to do with our environment. That has to do with how we do business, and we are getting a lot of requirements from customers about what are you doing about the carbon emissions, and similar questions. And that's a trend that I also see being accelerated, because that's on the mind of many people. And here, as a group, we are well prepared. And it all starts with the mindset of everybody involved. We call this Go Green, and we have almost 95% of our staff certified as a Go Green specialist, meaning they are very well aware of how we can influence the carbon footprint. And I'm not talking about the big aircraft. I'm talking about the things that we can do every day, like print a bit less, switch off your computer when you don't let it sit in standby, and simple things like that. So that's one thing that's not only close to my heart, but I also see that the sustainability topic will prevail after pandemic as well.
We really appreciate those insights, and I definitely agree with you in the point that companies that definitely deliver better to their values, that align with their community and better serve their community, and appreciate things like the environment and serve towards the bigger cause, definitely were the winners of the pandemic. Because what the pandemic also essentially did was it allowed the community to kind of take a moment and step back and realize what they actually cared about and their core values, and kind of started questioning if they were acting on it. And so the companies followed the communities in that they also kind of try to look back at their core values and mission statements and really identify key ways and strategies that they could actually deliver to these missions. So it's wonderful to see how DHL has been using this as an opportunity to grow and give back to the community. And we really appreciate your time, and thank you for your time talking to us today.
Thank you. Goodbye now.